It's hard to think straight when there's just so much crowding your space. You got to drown everything out and see what you wanna see. Listen with your heart and see through all of your fears. Open up a world that's just yours, 'cause life's too short. But if you play the game, you can win in the end.
Hi, welcome to the Create Your Reality with Akiala I podcast. My name is Akiala I. Sometimes I go by Aki. I'm starting a podcast because I don't really know. It's something I've always wanted to do. I think it would help me just being able to kind of talk to myself and talk out loud and sort through my thoughts and just let people experience part of my life and just open space for dialogue and to meet new people and see how other people are creating their reality and hopefully inspire people to create their reality, create their world, and expand their consciousness. So yeah, my intention is just that we create a safe space to be weird, explore things. You know, sometimes I might talk about real adult things. Sometimes I might talk about really personal things. Sometimes I might just be weird and maybe like take shrooms and just let you guys go on that experience with me. I don't really know. So it's gonna be like a new thing, and I'm just gonna be as vulnerable and as weird as possible. And hopefully I'll have some guests sometimes. And maybe in other times I'll just talk in weird voices and talk to myself. But I'm just on this journey of trying to create my reality and consciously. And I would love to have some witnesses, pretty much. In no way, when I talk about consciously creating a reality, I'm not preaching. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to create their world. I'm really pro free will. So it's like, do what you want to do. As long as it's not, hurting people intentionally. I'm just like, do what you want to do. It's your life. Everyone has a reason, for being here. And, everything this is life. It's at the end of the day, I kind of see it as this game, this simulation where we get to just try things and at the end of the day, we're just spiritual beings and we'll die and we'll go back to the spirit world and maybe we'll experience life again or maybe we won't and we'll be in this weird cosmic soup. So while we're here, I think it's just like experiment, test things out, like try new things, see what you can create. So create your reality is more of creating the world that you want to see. And if something doesn't exist that you believe that should exist, strive to create it. If you want a closet that looks like a refrigerator, like construct it, figure out how to build it. Or if you want to try a new food dish that you think would be good, try it out. Like everything now, it's really just about giving yourself permission to try new things and having confidence. And so I'm working on that myself and just being confident to explore and not be afraid to be judged. So thank you for going on this little journey with me. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this evolves. I'm excited to see where it goes. So yeah. A little bit about myself. let's see, I'm 26 years old. I'm a mother. I'm an author. I have 4 published books, and then I'm writing a few other ones. I'm a multi-dimensional artist, which to me, that means I just like expressing myself with various mediums. Sometimes I do graphic design or website design or fashion or painting or collage or photography or just singing. It's just like, how many ways can I express myself and how can I express my truth? And I just don't limit myself in my expression and my creation. And all of my art pieces are all telling the story of my evolution and tapping into different aspects and dimensions of myself. So that's what I mean by a multi-dimensional artist. Some of my favorite things to do are play dress up. I love the art of adornment, and that clothes really can help you step into a new character and version of yourself. Just like in theater, you put on this costume and suddenly you're, a prince from the 1800s, or you're, Frankenstein, or you're a wicked witch from the West, or, just like all these different characters that we can step into and play that don't exist, but we make it exist. So that's why I love dressing up, is I'm accessing these different characters and versions of myself. And then I love dressing people up too, just so that they can see themselves in a different way. I think sometimes clothes, it really is telling a story, and you get to curate what story you're telling. Most people, when they see you, it takes people 8 seconds at the most to form an opinion about you just based on how you look. So you really are visually, communicating, like, this is who I am, just when people just look at you. And not that your clothes will ever tell your whole story. Because everybody, one day you might just be in sweats and the next day you might be in like a super dope outfit, and it doesn't mean, when someone sees you in your sweats, like, oh, this person's just, whatever. But, our clothes tell a story. So that's why I love fashion, and that's why I got into it. I got into fashion because I loved wearing something that only I had, something that came from my imagination that no one else could buy in the stores. It was uniquely me expressing my personality. So when I started making other clothes, I started making some t-shirts for a while, and it was cool. Like, they, people enjoyed them, but I just didn't like it because now I have people that are wearing like the same kind of thing, and people are like, oh, you should manufacture these. And I'm like, yeah, like, the point for me is so that people stand out and they express their own sense of fashion. So when it comes to fashion, I love making custom pieces for people or styling people. But in terms of manufacturing clothes, that's not why I like fashion. So yeah, I started sewing when I was 8 years old. I became homeschooled because that's just what I wanted to focus on, is just sewing and just making things. So I did that for a really long time. Once I had my son, it was very hard for me to sew. Sewing just requires a lot of focus. You kind of have to have everything laid out, and it's hard when you have pins and sharp things and potentially hazardous and dangerous things lying around and fabric lying around, and you have a toddler just kind of like walking around, crawling around. And so I was like, okay, can't do this anymore, So I pivoted, and I was like, what else can I do? What other talents? What else do I love to do? I had been a dancer for a long time, from the age of 4 until like I graduated high school. I did a lot of like modern, some ballet. Then I did East Indian dance for about 7 years, which was really wonderful, with Mudra Dance Studios. They're a beautiful community, and that was extremely fun. I even got to teach the little babies East Indian dance. So that was a very beautiful time in my life. When I went to high school, I joined the Palms team. And yeah, that was fun too. Doing like high kicks and doing the whole public school thing with the pom-poms. At first, we were like sucked. Like everyone hated us at our school. But gradually we got better and better, and we were kind of the first Palms team. So we were pioneers, and now they have a Palms team. It's been like however many years later, almost 10 years later, and they are still going, and they're doing really well. So it's cool to be a part of that kind of like legacy. But after I had my son, I kind of stopped dancing as well, and just taking classes, and kind of felt a little bit out of my body. My body started feeling just like foreign to me. It felt heavier. It felt like I had lost a lot of flexibility and strength, and your core goes down. And so I just felt like I wasn't in a space where I felt like I could dance anymore, which was very scary. So I was like, man, what else can I do? So I started exploring video, and I started exploring writing. What prompted me to become a writer or write some books was that while I was pregnant with my son, I was terrified of giving birth. I was really scared. I just felt like I was too tiny. I couldn't comprehend how, this big baby was going to come out of me and I was going to survive it. So I was really scared about that, and was just starting to question, what if I don't survive this pregnancy? What would I have to leave behind for my son, just to make sure he knows that I loved him, I cared for him, and I could pass down something valuable for him, some lessons, some of my wisdom, some mementos. So I created this book called 100 Things. And 100 Things just has a bunch of life lessons and doodles that I just want my son to know. I think they're beautiful lessons. Things like, I know they're like very simple, but just like you're loved and you're always loved. Dream big. Don't be a bully, or like seek help if you're ever, in a depressive state. Just kind of things like that. So I wrote that book, and then I also wrote The Mind Which Exists that year too, because I was going through so much. The pregnancy was very emotionally draining and a roller coaster. So I wrote about that. I wrote about my experience in overcoming depression, and I even shared some pictures and poetry from my trip to Cuba. So I published those 2 books right before my son was born, and it was just a beautiful experience. I loved having something physical in my hands that I could hold, and that I could share with other people. And it's been beautiful that I've had friends that just love the book, or other people, random strangers, that just really connect with the book, or feel like they can resonate with the meaning behind the books and the poetry. And so it's really kind. It's really sweet. I feel like everyone should write a book at some point in their lifetime, just to share your own perspective, your own words. So that's how I got into writing books. Since then, I've written The Mind Which Exists Volume 2, which is just talking about my experience with nomadic living and traveling and motherhood. So that just came out this year, 2022. 2022, oh my god. That just doesn't even sound like a real year. 2022, oh my god. And then I wrote My Mommy's a Witch, which is basically just talking about the wonderful things moms do every day that people kind of just take for granted, and don't see as truly magical, but it is magic. It's so magic being able to feed a baby, being able to cook foods that nourish a human, singing to them to soothe them. Just very very magical things that moms do. So that's my author spiel. I'm still working on getting them into like more bookstores. I would love to just set the intention that I sell like 1 million copies total of my books this year. I really feel like 100 Things is a wonderful book, and I would love that to be on every bookshelf. Honestly, I think it's potent and powerful, and everyone needs those lessons. Like, everyone needs to be reminded. Sometimes I'll go back to my books whenever I'm feeling down, and they really cheer me up. And then sometimes I intentionally don't look at my books for a while. Like, after I write the books, like, it will be like a year before I even go and revisit them. And I'm like, wow, and I really feel like they helped me. And I'm just like, don't even remember writing them. And I'm just like, read them like a stranger wrote them. So I think they're wonderful. So that's that. My video side also came about after I had my son, just starting to capture moments with him. And I created this little series that I wanted to do every month for him up to his first year called like the Book of Z. And so it was like I used a green screen, and one episode was called Z Goes to the Club. And so I would just like edit him on the green screen, and like it's silly, but it's on YouTube somewhere. So I started doing that and just really enjoying green screen and like figuring things out and just like really getting into video editing. Like, I was just like, this is so cool. Like, I can create a whole world just with this green screen and like a software program. So I started doing these workout videos. I don't even know what the inspiration was, but I just got this kind of download of like 80 Space Mermaid workout videos. So I just would, wear different outfits, green screen myself. And yeah, I put up this like 18-minute video, and I loved it. Like, I thought it was like, I'm so cool. Like, I just made this whole world, and I am completely embarrassing myself, but I don't care. And so I put it up there, and people were like, whoa, like, this is cool, Aki. This is a new thing. So I started making them more, and it was just kind of like I would make them whenever I was in a space of evolving. They're really just like kind of like time consuming to make. And they just come when I'm like have a new download and when I'm in a new space in life. So it's hard to really like time them or make them consistent. And I kind of like that. I like that it's for me. It's for whenever I'm wanting to personally level up. I usually make a workout video that showcases my new video skills, showcases, new outfits and looks, and also music. That's how I got into creating music, because I was getting copyright strikes from using other people's music in my videos. So I was like, well, I'll just make my own then. And I started making my own music, just using this program called Soundtrap, and just, I don't remember if there were any other programs, but it was fun. It was like dope. And I actually like them. So yeah, that's how I got into the video graphic side. And I've always just been an entrepreneur and trying to make my own brand. I haven't had a 9-to-5 since 2015. And it has and hasn't worked out for me, but overall, I have a lot of freedom. I don't have a lot of financial stability, but yeah, yeah, it's sometimes kind of like worth it for me. And I've gotten to experience a lot of wonderful, beautiful things and marvel at the synchronicities and miracles and how things just magically come together. But I am in a place now in my life where I would like more stability, and I am willing to have a little bit more discipline and work a little harder. However, I'm just not willing to sacrifice that much of myself. I don't know if I can work a 9 to 5. Like, I don't have anything against it that, you know, if other people do that, like, cool. But I personally, my spirit is not meant for that type of schedule. And I think that's okay. Like, I think a lot of people try to label it as something if you just don't have a job, or if you're like, it doesn't work for me. Like, they kind of make it seem like it's not an optional kind of thing. But I think nowadays there's so many different avenues that you can make yourself abundant or step into your abundance. And for me, a 9 to 5 is just like, right now it's like a no. It's a no for me. But I started doing gig culture and just developing my skills, and so that's when I got into website design and offering that to other people. And so that kind of comes through every now and then. Sometimes videography stuff comes through every now and then. I started doing face painting just as a kind of side hustle. So just kind of like always had this entrepreneur spirit of like, what can I offer? What can I do to just get the bills paid? But like I said, I'm at a point where I really want more. I want to experience more. I want to have that cushion. And, you know, now that I have a son that's about to go to school, there's just a lot more expenses. So it's like, how can I really create this financial abundance and stability while also staying true to myself, having freedom, enjoying my life? So yeah, I mean, you know, that's what everybody wants, right? Is freedom and abundance and love and family. So this podcast is like, I want to witness myself growing and evolving and achieving that, and talking to other people and how they've achieved that, so that I can get ideas and share with other people. So I really have this intention and this vision of, while this podcast is evolving, I'm evolving, and I get to, in real time, you know, show you like, wow, this thing happened, versus, you know, like, I'm a multi-millionaire and like, I can show you how to become one too. Like, I really want it to be like, nope, I have, you know, $30 in my account, and I have this vision of becoming, you know, a best-selling author. So let's see it. Like, let's see how it happens. Let's see how it comes together. So, so in real time, you're watching and listening to my experiences and seeing how I accomplish and create my reality. So if you have any goals and anything you want to accomplish, like, I would love for you to use this podcast too, to set an intention, and let's grow together. Let's be a witness for each other. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I love traveling. I've been to a few countries now. I've been to Cuba, South Africa, Europe, Germany, London, France. I've been to the Palace of Versailles and the top of the Eiffel Tower. Let's see. I mean, Hawaii's US, but Hawaii, Mexico, when I was really young. Did a cross-country road trip, like, basically 3 times. So I've been to quite a bit of the states in the United States. I would love to, in my lifetime, go to every continent and just put my feet down. I really would love to go to my dad's birthplace, which is Trinidad and Tobago. So I would love to go there for my birthday next year for Carnival. because I've never gotten to experience that. And my island roots are calling. So I would love to go wine, and samba and yeah, just be an island girl. She's an island girl. I love travel. I think travel is the best thing you can do for yourself. It expands your mind. It connects you to other people. It shows you how other people are living and just the human experience. I think it's beautiful. It just expands your mind and expands your box and expands everything. And it influences your art. Then it influences like how much you can express. So I love being able to take my son with me and travel with him. I feel like it expands him so much, and he's such an extrovert, so he makes friends everywhere he goes. He lights up the world, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful that he's created memories with people in a whole other part of the world. And there's like this loud something happening right now. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. But I just love that he's been able to impact people and create this domino effect. We can really, truly change people's lives. And that's something I've been able to witness this year, is just how much one conversation with someone or just meeting a stranger could really change their whole entire life. We landed in New Orleans in October of 2021, and I love New Orleans. New Orleans is my favorite city in the United States. And I was doing van life, and I had met some people while I was out vending, and they were like, oh, we've been wanting to do van life too. And we just were talking about it. I showed them my van and everything, and that was that. And then 2 months later, I was out somewhere else and saw this van pull up. This guy got out, and I was like, hey, like, I remember you from, a few months ago. And he's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like, you're the one who inspired us to get this van. Like, we love it. We started this YouTube channel. We have like thousands of views now. And I was just like, wow, I didn't even know his name, but it was just like the impact that we can have on people can change so much. So you never know who you might meet and what part of the world that just like changes the course of history. We really can affect the whole universe just by the decisions we make and the connections we make. So that's my philosophy on travel and why it's important. I just feel like people make excuses like, I don't have money. I'm like, I don't have money either. I don't know how I'm getting around, but I take my 2 pennies, I rub them together, I buy a plane ticket, and I try to figure out the rest. There's been a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to stay tonight, or I don't know what I'm going to eat. But it's just like it always seems to work out, and I'm provided for. So pray, but travel to me is not optional. We were born on this earth to explore it, to see it. And if you don't get to see it, like, you're just kind of missing out on the experience. So please travel. If you don't have money, I get it, but there's always some kind of way. Yeah, or just, ask your friends for $20. If you don't have friends, I don't know, gotta get your hustle on. And you gotta find the thing that kind of like people resonate with. And it's not easy. I make a lot of excuses for myself, like travel is something that I prioritize, but when it comes to some other things, it seems like I just never have funds for it. So it's all about conditioning and how you're raised too. And I didn't really grow up in a household that had a great relationship with finances. And I just feel like I've never learned about money or how to save or invest or anything like that. So I'm like trying to figure it out myself. And of course there's like YouTube videos and all kinds of things now, but it's like so much to decipher who really knows or who's like trying to scam or like who's just spreading misinformation. And so it's exhausting to like try to sift through that. And I don't want to approach finances from the typical norm of just like, oh, well, this is what wealthy white men have done for centuries. Like, just do this. And like, well, maybe that's why we're all in this place too. Like, it's very individualistic of just like, yeah, just get some real estate and like charge $3,000 a month for it. And then you're good. And then you get another property. And then you have 30 properties that you're just charging like way overpricing for people that can't even afford that. So I don't know. I understand like we have to build generational wealth. But it's just so individualistic these days and seems to just go in the same cycle of, colonizing basically. And even with Bitcoin and stuff like that, I question it all of just, is it truly sustainable? And it's not eco-friendly at all. And it seems like it's still creating this like hierarchical, people with money can invest. Sometimes the underdogs get lucky, but sometimes the underdogs lose a lot of money that they were trying to grow. Maybe they put in a couple $100 into stocks or Bitcoin and it went down and crashed and they didn't really have the, they're trying to do long term, but they don't really have the liquid funds to just play around like that. So most Americans don't have a savings. And I think that's really telling. And, it's just like, what are we doing? So, generational wealth is very interesting. I think it's going to take a lot of community-minded oriented thought of how can we build something together? How can we use cooperative economics? I have, a few dollars, you have a few dollars, you have a few dollars. Let's put it all together and, get groceries so we can make a feast versus someone trying to make a feast out of just, their few dollars. So, I think cooperative economics is going to be the key in creating wealth in this generation, just with how expensive things are getting. And yeah, travel has gotten a lot more expensive this year since COVID. I'm not sure exactly the complete reason because it doesn't seem like it's because of gas prices, which are also going up. And it's like a lot of people don't make enough money to support this inflation. So it's very concerning. And I wonder what this push is about. Like, it just feels so drastic. And I'm not really I don't really look at the news because 1, it's just too much. 2, it makes my brain hurt after a while. 3, it just seems like it's all negative. And 4, I just don't feel like it's any solution based. It's just like, these people were murdered today. And it's like, oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's scary and that's sad. But how can we keep each other safe? Like, how can we focus on solutions? How can we, assist that family? So, yeah, the world is changing. And that's why I kind of just, it's hard. It's hard. They have that saying like ignorance is bliss. And it's not that I don't pay attention to like what's going on in the world, but there does come a point where your inner world will kind of model back and reflect in the physical world. So it is kind of like, you know how sometimes, like, if you wake up in a bad mood and, you stub your toe and things just kind of spiral out of control and you're just like, what? Why is this happening? And your mood just keeps getting worse and everything is going wrong and you're just like, oh my God. Versus, when you wake up in a good mood and take some time for yourself and things just are like, wow, things are just going right today. And there's always going to be those ebbs and flows, like days when things are just going really well, days when things are not going so well. That's just the natural rhythm of life. But overall, I feel like if you do set the intention to be in a more positive space, you'll attract more positive things. So it's easier said than done to practice the law of attraction, but it does make a difference. It absolutely does. I've witnessed it enough times to be like, yeah, it's a thing. It really is. Your vibration is what's creating a lot of the scenarios in life. And then your choices are an extension of your vibration, which are also creating your reality. So although the world is, things are happening, I'm trying to approach it from this philosophy that the world is perfect. Not meaning that it can't be improved, not meaning that things suck, but just that we are in a place that we need to be, or else we wouldn't be here. So there's some kind of lesson, some kind of thing that we need to get from this moment, and we'll continue to evolve. And I believe that humans are evolving. I think I've seen a lot of change in my lifetime of just like people being more embracing of each other and expressing themselves fuller and exploring new ideologies and theories and this idea of spirituality. A lot more people are really open to that idea. So I think we are evolving, and it does take time in this paradigm. I hope that humans could get to a place where change doesn't have to be every single generation. It could be like, you know what? We've just decided that everyone is awesome and we don't feel the need to kill each other anymore. That would be cool, right? But until we get there, I think it's just about like self-love, loving yourself, creating your world, teaching other people how to love each other, and how to love themselves, and just being true to yourself. I think that's the most powerful and radical thing you can do in this lifetime, is just exploring yourself, loving yourself, and being true to yourself. So I pray and set the intention that we are all expressing our truth, that we're all playing, that we're all conscious that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we can shift the universe just with our choices. So thank you for being with me and sharing this time with me. This is Create Your Reality with Akiala I.